4th, 2001. Police officer Joseph Ironic was called to Livingston Middle School to speak with a student that might have some information regarding the June 3rd incident. This student indicated that he didn't have any information other than that another student might have some information. Officer Ironic then keyed on Adrian Teasley. He spoke with Adrian Teasley that day at the school, and Adrian supplied Officer Ironic with information concerning the case. Adrian Teasley told Officer Ironic, approximately in the middle of May 2001, Adrian found a chrome .22 gun in my coat pocket while I was visiting Erica Cancer, Adrian's cousin, at 266 Livingston Ave. When I came out of Erica's room, he said I put a glove on which was in my coat pocket and played with the gun. Officer Ironic took Adrian's information and went to Adrian's home at 266 Livingston Ave and searched behind this location for ammunition and spent casings, which was unsuccessful. Later, Officer Ironic found out more information from Adrian Teasley. Adrian told Ironic in May 2001 he came in contact with another gun at his grandmother's house at 21 Putnam Street. He and his cousin Melinda Teasley retrieved the gun from a box in a downstairs closet. It was a large gun that looked something like a machine gun. The two of them went outside and into the backyard where Adrian kept trying to shoot it. The bullets kept falling out and Adrian kept on picking them up and putting them back in the clip. The gun finally went off and they both just ran inside. This additional information caused Officer Ironic to take additional action. He went to 21 Putnam Street to look for ammunition that went to the gun, and this attempt was also unsuccessful. On June 18, 2001, 14-year-old Adrian Teasley was taken to the Albany Police Department and questioned by Kenneth P. Wilcox and Ronald Matos without the permission of his aunt, Adrian LaMarche, who was his legal guardian at the time. Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox and Ronald Matos coerced Adrian Teasley into signing a statement which was inaccurate and untrue. Adrian Teasley went on to testify to said inaccurate and untrue statement at my trial. However, on cross-examination by defense attorney Brian Rounds, Adrian Teasley testified that when he first spoke to the police in this matter, his aunt Adrian LaMarche got upset about the things Detectives Kenneth P. Wilcox and Ronald Matos were telling him to say. These detectives wanted Adrian Teasley to say things he really couldn't testify to, like, I was going downtown to fight a lot of people and I had revenge in my heart, and Adrian Teasley felt like these things were not the truth. On October 10, 2003, my family hired East Coast Investigations to investigate the allegations made by Adrian Teasley and the things Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox and Detective Ronald Matos were telling him to say. Initially, East Coast Investigations contacted Adrian LaMarche, and she did not want to discuss the issues of this case over the phone, and arrangements were made to meet with her at her Albany, New York residence. Erica Cancer was present as well. Ms. LaMarche and Erica advised East Coast Investigations that they did not feel comfortable being involved in this matter due to the problems that they had with the Albany Police Department. Ultimately, it was learned that Adrian Teasley did not want to be involved in this matter because he feared repercussions from the police. On January 3, 2004, East Coast Investigations obtained a signed 4-page statement from Adrian LaMarche. Ms. LaMarche provided details regarding her interaction with the Albany Police. Specifically, she stated, her oldest child, Erica Cancer, introduced her to me in 1999. Adrian Teasley, her nephew, met me through Erica as well. Adrian is the son of her sister, Melody Teasley. Adrian Teasley lived with Adrian LaMarche and her family from 1997 until mid-2002. On June 3, 2001, a shooting occurred in Albany and a girl was killed. I was charged and ultimately convicted of the murder. Nonetheless, members of her family were questioned by the Albany police and had appeared before a grand jury to testify. I was indicted and later convicted of the murder. Her daughter Erica was questioned numerous times by the authorities. Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox was one of the policemen that questioned Erica. Erica was called to leave the Capital District area because of the situation. The authorities wanted Erica to testify at my trial. While Erica was gone, the police constantly harassed Adrian LaMarche. Her house was watched, she was followed, and she even was arrested for child abuse concerning her nephew, Adrian Teasley. The charge was bogus and ultimately dismissed. Her nephew, Adrian Teasley, was questioned by Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox and a statement was taken. He was 14 at the time and the police questioned him without her permission, even though he was living with her and she had custody of him. Adrian Teasley was just a child at the time, so Adrian LaMarche went with him to the grand jury proceedings and stayed with him while he was questioned by the Albany County District Attorney Paul Klein and Assistant District Attorney Carter. It was during that meeting that it was revealed by Adrian Teasley that his police statement was inaccurate and untrue. Adrian LaMarche was present when her nephew advised the district attorney that his police statement was inaccurate. Adrian LaMarche went on to say she lodged a complaint with the Internal Affairs Department of the Albany Police, the New York State Office of Professional Standards, and the Justice Department. She complained about the way her nephew was treated by the authorities, specifically Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox. Although she lodged her complaint, she said it turned out to be a waste of time since nothing ever happened as a result of the complaints. Question: why was Kenneth P. Wilcox permitted to interrogate the 14-year-old Adrian Teasley without his guardian Adrian LaMarche's permission? Why would District Attorney Paul Klein and Assistant District Attorney Carter allow Adrian Teasley to testify at my grand jury and ultimately my trial when Adrian Teasley told them the statement was fabricated by Detective Ronald Matos and Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox? And last but not least, why didn't the Internal Affairs Department of the Albany Police, the New York State Office of Professional Standards, and the Justice Department act on the complaints made by Adrian LaMarche? To see documents to support these facts, go to www.freebono.com. The early morning hours of July 23, 2001, Detective Kenneth P. Wilcox had Detective Anthony Ryan illegally arrest me. Under oath, Detective Anthony Ryan testified that on July 22, 2001, he conducted interviews with 3 confidential informants, Dante Brown, Clay Morris, and Ricardo Shepard. And it was from these interviews Detective Anthony Ryan learned I was in the company of a man named Michael Horan, and both Michael Horan and myself were carrying guns when we were on the street. Note: evidence to support the information that these informants allegedly relayed to Detective Anthony Ryan is non-existent. There are neither signed statements by these informants nor investigative reports wherein these particular informants are connected to said information. On July 23, 2001, Detective Anthony Ryan received information that I was standing in front of an apartment, D10 at 7 Lark Street, and I was in the company of Michael Horton. Detective Anthony Ryan and 3 other detectives went over to that area to locate Michael Horton, who he had a warrant for. Detective Anthony Ryan testified that there were 2 purposes in which he and the other detectives went to 7 Lark Street, which was to locate Michael Horton, and if they came across me, they were going to check me and see if I had a gun on me. When the detectives arrived at 7 Lark Street, one team of officers pulled into the parking lot of 7 Lark Street, and Detective Anthony Ryan and another detective came in from the rear so that they would have the apartment contained if we tried to flee. Detective Anthony Ryan's first observation was of Anthony Malloy trying to get out of the back second-floor window. Once the detectives had the apartment surrounded, they made a call to the location and spoke to Yakima Tarver. The detectives had Yakima and her children exit the apartment. At that point, a detective near the front door called out to me and Anthony Malloy. And as I came through the front door, Detective Anthony Ryan grabbed me, slammed me on the ground, handcuffed me, and checked me for weapons. As that was occurring, a search of the apartment for Michael Horton was being conducted. That came up negative, at which point I was picked up and sat in the back of a marked unit. Note: there was never an arrest warrant issued for my arrest. Detective Anthony Ryan said if I wanted to leave, he wouldn't have stopped me. However, he concedes that the back doors of the marked police vehicle can only be opened from the outside. Detective Anthony Ryan never told me I was free to leave. Detective Anthony Ryan also stated that he knew had they not come up with the weapon, I was going to be released, and didn't feel like there came a point in time when I was going to be arrested to have to chase me all around like he had been doing for 3 months with Michael Horton. I submit to the listener that Detective Anthony Ryan had every intention on arresting me, despite not having an arrest warrant. This is why the detectives surrounded the apartment complex at 7 Lark Street, openly admitting he had one team pull into the parking lot and himself and another came in from the rear if we tried to flee. This is why even after I was searched for a weapon and Yakima's apartment was searched for Michael Horton, which both came up negative, I was still locked in the back of the police car and never told I was free to leave. Because Anthony Ryan didn't feel if there came a point in time when I was going to be arrested to have to chase me all around like he had been doing Michael Horton for 3 months. He illegally detained and arrested me. To see documents supporting these facts, go to www.freebono.com.